Hey everyone, today I've got your Brightburn movie review. Considering the state of the DCU and not knowing when we'll see Superman return to the big screen, is this blatant ripoff the one we need right now? So as far as the story goes, produced by James Gunn, this movie has the literal same concept of a boy as a baby who crashes down to Earth in a fictional town of Brightburn, Kansas, not to be confused with Smallville, on a farm of a couple who have been wanting to start a family. Now, this movie does feel like a Superman ripoff, but it also has a little nod to the Omen in a version of Clark Kent that goes bizarro and makes this movie a horror version of the comic book character. I see how I'm constantly reminded watching this movie with scenes from Man of Steel, like when this boy has interactions with other kids and obviously something is bound to go wrong, even though it starts off pretty good and, you know, it's very basic in plot, and then after an incident happens and the parents are being called and his powers are growing by the minute, so you get to see how crazy this whole movie's gonna just go downhill from there. And when it has this Omen horror vibe, he starts to hear like all kinds of noises, but you're not really sure what the heck they are or even where he's from. And obviously he crash landed from outer space somewhere, and it's just so weird, and I am so glad I did not have a lot of high hopes for this movie, and Superman is supposed to stand for hope, but maybe this movie is not so hopeful in the end. So as far as the casting goes, I mean, you've got some not too many well-known actors. Obviously Elizabeth Banks is the star of the movie, and even with that child actor, I just feel like it wasn't as great acting wise, and even though this boy has the same similar traits as Clark Kent Superman with the super strength, the red eyes, he flies, and he's very speedy, but on a whole nother level. And when he decides to wear the cape, and he even wears a mask at one point, I'm like, what is this, trick or treat? And for some reason, the acting is just laughable. So it really didn't matter who was in this movie at this point, and I can't take it seriously due to the line delivery and some of the awkward interactions with everybody that they were having. It just seemed like a movie that I just could really care less about these characters, and not talking about like a Lifetime movie status. So the things that I liked about this movie was that there were some jumpy moments that either I had seen before from watching the trailers way back when, but they might have also been predictable, or there were a couple surprises I didn't see coming. So that was also, you know, a redeemable part of the movie, even though the majority of it did have that horror element slash sci-fi aspect to it that made the movie scary at times. And I was waiting to see how far that they were going to take that element and sell it with that aspect, because I had to cover my eyes at one point, and it was fast-paced, and thank God for that, because that was a hit or miss for me, considering that it zipped by as if no one really cared exactly what was going on, which is why this story had such a basic plot that it really, you know, it didn't add too much detail to the overall film. Now, unfortunately, the things that I didn't really like about this movie was that it did come off as cheesy and laughably bad sometimes, and not just because of the acting in this movie, but the dialogue and the line delivery made this a B or C level type of movie. And some parts of it looked really cool, especially with the third act, and that's where most of the intense scenes stirred up. But then there wasn't, like, I don't know, there was just something really weird about this movie, and I can't quite explain it, but it was just, the execution of it still left me with more questions than answers. So overall, I would say that I was disappointed with this movie. Like I said, I wasn't expecting too much going into it, so I wouldn't really say that I would see it again. So I can't exactly recommend it to you guys. I still am disappointed in the fact that this is a Superman ripoff, and you know, Sony distributing it could have done a whole lot better, but then what can we possibly expect from that? So I would give this 2 hearts on the heart rate scale. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought of Brightburn, and as always, you guys can subscribe to my channel. I've got more movie reviews, movie updates coming every week for a Chill Thursday video. You guys can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, and I will see you guys later.